So it's probably best to start at the beginning of DocToHelp Summer School, the basics. So what we'll be covering today is some of the fundamental things in DocToHelp. First of all, we're just going to do a general welcome and delve into creating a new project after we talk a little bit about what DocToHelp is, how it works, and how it makes your life easier. Create a new project, add a document to the project, work with the content in that document a little bit after we build a target. Basically just starting at the beginning here, and if anybody does have any questions, you can feel free to post those in the questions box in GoToMeeting. I'll either answer those questions as they come up or as they become relevant in the presentation and the training. I'd ask that everybody just keep their questions to what we're covering here thus far just in the training today, and try not to ask any questions that aren't related to what we're talking about, just sort of the basics and working with creating a project and adding a document. And then I have a question of, will we have access to this presentation at a later time? Do we get the PDF that you're using? The PDF that I'm using is part of the course pack download link that I had sent out earlier, and I also included a link to that course pack in the chat window. So if you download that zip file has this PDF in it, the Summer School Basics PDF, and it also has the document and the JPEG file that we'll need to work with as far as adding that document to the project that we create, and then inserting that image into the document that we're working with. So yeah, again, this PDF is in that course pack download. I had sent out an email a little bit earlier today, but some people did sign up after I sent out that email. But then I did include that's a public files link that's in the chat window. Okay, so just kicking it off with the introduction, welcoming you to DocToHelp. The objectives here are to learn how DocToHelp makes your life easier and to find out what DocToHelp does for you out of the box. There's a number of things that DocToHelp can do for you. If you come into your project with some existing content, a number of our customers, both new and existing customers, have content already with them. They have user guides or old user guides that are in Word or written in other formats. Maybe they have an old WinHelp or CHM file. And so they have a lot of content that they come to the project with. And if they bring that content into a DocToHelp project, as we see, there's a lot of things that DocToHelp can do for them out of the box. Okay, so DocToHelp makes it easy to single source online help, web deliverables, and manuals with new and existing source documents. These documents can be authored in Microsoft Word, an HTML editor such as Adobe Dreamweaver or Microsoft FrontPage, or DocToHelp's built-in XHTML, actually it's an HTML5 editor. DocToHelp handles much of the transformation automatically. In fact, you can create quality outputs, help, web deliverables, and manuals, what DocToHelp refers to as targets, right out of the box. DocToHelp takes your content and, based on your document structure, automatically creates the topic structure and related topic links, a table of contents, and even an index. But you can do much more than that. So this training course explains how to quickly and easily take your project to another level and do things like create topic links and customize the look of your targets, the glossary, so much more. Okay, so this graphic illustrates the power of DocToHelp. You start with your source documents. You can use one, two, or a combination of all three of these source types. So the .xml extension is for the HTML5 files that you can author directly in DocToHelp's content editor. You can also use Word documents that you work on directly that you can start from DocToHelp and add to in DocToHelp. Or you can bring existing Word documents as well as authoring new HTML files, HTML4 files, or bringing in new ones of those. bringing in existing HTML files, and you can also author new HTML files. Manage everything in DocToHelp in the middle. As soon as you're ready, you select your output, click Build, and the result is all the different types of content that you need there on the right-hand side. Printed manuals, online help, web content, mobile content, anything you need. The quick example that I usually use is that DocToHelp takes the stuff that you have. So a lot of people have a lot of stuff, especially, like I said, a lot of our new and existing customers have Word documents where their content's already stored. And then the stuff that they need is all the stuff on the right-hand side. They need printed manuals, online help, and web content. So they take that stuff that they have, they put it in DocToHelp, manage it and customize it as necessary, and then produce the stuff that they need here on the right-hand side. Okay, so there's a number of things that DocToHelp does for you when it transforms your source documents into the desired target. It breaks Word documents into topics for online outputs. Books have chapters and sections. Help and web output have topics. DocToHelp breaks your Word document into topics and creates the project hierarchy from those. By default, heading 1s automatically become parent topics, and all heading 2s under it become subtopics. Heading 3s are the subtopics of heading 2s, heading 4s are the subtopics of heading 3s, and so on and so forth. So this is a big time saver that not only eliminates reworking an existing project, it also makes it easy to logically create a new project. So as we can see here, Pittsburgh Sports is a heading 1. In this table of contents, Pittsburgh Sports is a heading 1, followed by 3 heading 2s. DocToHelp automatically broke it into 4 topics and made the heading 2 subtopics of the heading 1. This is displayed in the contents pane as well as in the topics window. If your project source is HTML or XML, which is always comprised of individual topics, DocToHelp still creates the hierarchy, but in a different way. We'll take a look at that as soon as we get our project created as well. DocToHelp creates a table of contents based on the topic hierarchy, and you can also edit the TOC if you wish. So this is page 3 of the PDF that's in your course pack. This is a really good screenshot that kind of illustrates how the table of contents is set up in DocToHelp. There on the left-hand side, you've got the table of contents in the contents pane in DocToHelp, and then the table of contents, how it would look in your NetHelp output. So you can see there Pittsburgh's 250th anniversary is a heading 1, Pittsburgh Sports is a heading 1, football is a heading 2, so it's a subtopic of Pittsburgh Sports. Pro football is a subtopic of football, so that's a heading 3. Pittsburgh Steelers is a subtopic of pro football, so that's a heading 4. Heading 1s with no heading 2s under them will appear in the main level. Heading 1s with heading 2s under them will appear at the main level as books with the heading 2s indented below them. And if used, heading 3s will be indented under heading 2s and heading 4s under heading 3s. You can actually go all the way down to heading 9 if you have that many topics and subtopics, if you want to go down that many levels. And then DocToHelp also automatically creates subtopic links in your online help output. DocToHelp uses the topic hierarchy to create See Also links at the bottom of online help outputs. This creates a logical navigation that adds value to your project immediately. Plus, you can add custom-related links if you like. DocToHelp also creates an index if your Word source documents had index entries already marked. DocToHelp uses them to create an index. Please note that it is possible to create an index automatically based on topic types. You can create index entries, your own index entries while writing using D2HTML, or you can create part of or your entire index after your project is complete using the contents pane and topics window. And then it also generates front and back matter for manuals. DocToHelp automatically generates the title page, table of contents, and index for printed manuals. And then actually we have a question out there that says, what is TRC? I think you might mean TOC. TOC stands for Table of Contents. TOC stands for Table of Contents. For online help and web outputs, DocToHelp uses a default theme for the output that includes standard navigation, toolbar buttons, table of contents, search, and index views. Your project will be ready to go, but you will have the option of picking a different theme or customizing the theme almost any way you wish. And when we talk about theme customizations, that's actually something that we're going to be covering in the next summer school session, which is on branding your web outputs. And that actually focuses a lot on using the theme designer and working with NetHelp's theme designer in DocToHelp in order to create a custom branded skin for your web-based outputs without needing to know anything about cascading style sheets or web design or HTML, any of that. And so actually I made this PDF for the DocToHelp Summer School Basics. I made this PDF in DocToHelp itself. So you can see here it added these headers, it added that title page with the DocToHelp logo in it, and it added the table of contents at the beginning that we saw. And then it organized everything, and it helped me to output this into a PDF. So once I had this project ready to go, I could just as easily have produced this as NetHelp as well. Okay, so we're going to jump into creating a new project. The objectives here to learn a few handy facts about DocToHelp projects in general and to create a new project ourselves. The DocToHelp New Project Wizard makes it easy to create a new project. In this lesson, we'll create a new project, although we'll create a project with an empty source document. It's easy to add existing documents to your project, and that's the next lesson that we're going to learn, as well as create new empty documents. But there are just a few handy facts that you need to keep in mind in general about projects. When you create a new project, DocToHelp will create a folder structure for your project automatically. You can change some of the folder names if you'd like later. DocToHelp automatically creates an empty folder named Media that you can use to store graphics and other media in. Important thing to keep in mind is that DocToHelp project files have an extension .d2h. Double-clicking on any .d2h file will open DocToHelp, and it'll open that project, whatever project that you double-clicked on, it'll open that project in DocToHelp. You should always store your source documents within the project in the Documents folder. If you don't, you could cause broken links in your project. So what we prefer to have is for every project, as you can see in the screenshot here, the Pittsburgh project is a CSS Files folder, it's a Documents folder, and a Media folder. So some other folders and some other things will get created whenever we build targets and we start working with the project a little bit more. But these three folders are what you're going to see automatically as soon as you create the project. It's part of the structure that DocToHelp creates for you. And what we prefer is that you keep everything sort of project specific, everything self-contained in the project. So all of the CSS files that you might need if you're working with the content editor in DocToHelp, the HTML5 editor, all of your project documents, and then all of your media such as screenshots, flash movies, WMV files, things of that nature. Any kind of media that you have for the project, prefer that you keep that all centrally located and sort of self-contained within the project folder. Just because if you have too many hens in the pot, sometimes people change file names or people change things around, move things around, and then that could break links to other documents, other things within the project, and then you build your outputs and all of a sudden all of your images don't appear. And then we have a question of, are CSS items automatic? Yes, the CSS folder, this CSS files, that folder gets created for you automatically. And that's the same CSS files in every project. CSS stands for Cascading Style Sheets, and that's used for formatting HTML and web content. Okay, so if you're working in Word documents, you don't need to worry about needing to know anything about cascading style sheets or HTML or any kind of a markup language. If you're working in DocToHelp's built-in editor, really don't have to worry about it too much, just above and beyond the fact that when you create new styles and when you work on creating new formatting in the built-in editor, you're creating and editing style sheets instead of working with templates. And actually, the differences between templates and style sheets is something that we do cover in the intermediate training for our DocToHelp online training. That you can get more information on that on the website. That's like a huge chunk. It's probably about a 2-hour chunk of that 4-hour training. Okay, and then as far as the exercise is concerned, we can just create a new project. Keep the default language as English. I'll stick with the default source style sets. And so again, this is where we talk about, these are our cascading style sheets for if we're working in HTML as far as the content that we're editing. And then our styles and our templates if we're working in Microsoft Word. Okay, so anything that you do from a formatting perspective, if you're working in Word documents, and then you publish that content that's in Word. If you publish that to NetHelp or a Chum file or anything like that, everything is created and transformed using templates in Word. And if you're using HTML or you're using DocToHelp's built-in editor, then everything is created and transformed using style sheets. Okay, and so that's an important distinction. Again, that's something that's covered a lot more in the intermediate training. Okay, so we're going to select the default target as NetHelp, and actually we have a really good question of, can this information be altered at a later date? The answer to that is yes. For any of these settings, you can always import project settings at a later date. You can change the default language. You can change the default target. The default target is probably the easiest thing to change. You can change any of your style sheets and any of your templates. You can change all of these settings. This is basically all of the defaults that basically the choices that you need to make right when you set up the project. But as soon as you set everything up, you can really easily change all of it. And actually, the best example of that we're going to do right now is we'll just start out creating content in DocToHelp's HTML5 editor. So I can kind of show you just real quick the differences between the HTML5 editor and Word and how that works. And we'll start out with the HTML5 editor, but then we'll move along to the Word document that's included there in the course pack. That's like a Pittsburgh Quick Start tour or something like that is the name of the Pittsburgh Quick Tour document as part of the Word document that's part of the course pack. And then there's a JPEG file in there called Pittsburgh Confluence as well. Okay, so I created this project, and the way that I wanted to start creating content was in HTML5. So this is all content that's written directly in DocToHelp and DocToHelp's built-in editor. So as we can see here, we've got our standard sort of body text. It's got the body tag on it. And if I click on subtopic, that subtopic is a heading 2. And then if I go to the parent topic is a heading 1. See there, that's an H1. And then the hierarchy that's created in the document structure, as you can see, I can expand and collapse this. The topic is a heading 1, so it's on the top of the hierarchy. Subtopic is a heading 2, so it's a step below in the hierarchy. And then if I wanted to create a new document, if I wanted to create something further down into the hierarchy, like a subtopic, I could create that as a child of the selected document. And then as you can see here, when I select subtopic, that's a heading 3, and that's one rung lower in the hierarchy. And if I wanted to create a whole new section, to create it as a sibling of a selected document. And then this new section starts all with a heading 1. And that subtopic, I could make it a child of a selected document. All that information is in there. And then there's a question about dynamic help. It says that question basically states, I don't have a dynamic help window, so this is the dynamic help window right here. I don't have a dynamic help window. Is that because I didn't download the software? Well, if you did download the software, then that's, you would definitely be able to open up DocToHelp. The dynamic help window is toggled on and off by clicking this little button right up next to the button where you close and open or where you close DocToHelp. If I toggle it off, dynamic help window goes away. It's this button right here in the middle. You've got the help button, getting started wizard button, and then the dynamic help button. If I click the dynamic help button again, that'll toggle it back on. And then I had a question of asking how I created this subtopic or this subtopic, how I was creating all of these new files. We're actually going to take a look at that in just a second as far as creating a new document. But I can create any kind of new document that I want. I can create an HTML5 document to work with here in the content editor. Can create just a regular HTML4 document to work in an external HTML editor, or I can create a new Word document. And the new Word document would be if I wanted my content to open up and be edited natively in Word. Really, the two options here, the two main options that our customers use are to either have all their content in Word or to author all their content in HTML5 in the DocToHelp content editor. So as we saw in the one graphic, with the heading styles and the Word document that was organized by books, you can set up Like if I go into this contents pane, this is so you can see here with the way the hierarchy is set up in the document tree. This is all set up by individual documents, as opposed to having one document that has a bunch of topics where the hierarchy is created by the heading styles. This is created more by the hierarchy of how the documents are added and organized in the file tree here in the Documents window. So there's really no wrong way to do it. As a matter of fact, I could just add a Word document into here. And I'll probably just do that just to show that I can have both of the documents here at the same time. But I could just add a Word document to this content. So we have customers that kind of do it both ways. We have customers that maybe started out authoring their content in the built-in editor and then added maybe some Word content that other users in the company had sent to them, their subject matter experts in the company had sent to them. We also have customers that started out their projects by bringing in a bunch of Word documents that they had already, and then all new content that they author, any new content that they write, is written here in the built-in editor. So you can mix and match all the different file extensions, as many different file extensions as you like. And we have a question of, so you can have a mix, and that's the answer to that is yes. Yes, you can definitely mix and match file types. And actually, let me go back into the PDF. This is actually the exercise. That we just went through to create the new project. And again, these are all the screenshots. Screenshots are basically just what we saw. To select the default target is NetHealth. And then in this example, we selected Microsoft Word. For the exercise, they have you select Microsoft Word as the default, but I just wanted to show how things looked in the content editor. Okay, but just real quick, when we talk about adding a document to a project, okay, so this is to add a new document. You would click the Create New Document button, and then that gives you the option of what type of document to create. So we kind of went through that. We talked about the single topic and parent and child relationships, or child and sibling relationships. Okay, but to add an existing document, you just click that little green button next to the New Document button. Okay, so this time I'll choose a Word document. Choose to keep my content in Word, and again, these are the two options that you have when you import a Word document. You can keep your content in Word, or you can convert to HTML5. For the most part, our customers, and for the most part, what I advise people to do is if they already have their content in Word and they're comfortable working in Word, and for the most part, people who have content in Word, they usually get comments or reviews or additional content from subject matter experts that are just working in Word as well. For the most part, I'll say if it's not broke, don't fix it. So if the content is already in Word and you're already comfortable in Word, just keep it in Word, don't convert it to HTML5. But then down the road, if you want to write new content, then you could just start fresh in HTML5 and write that content fresh in HTML5. Okay, so I'm going to click Add File. My document here, my DocToHelp Basics Course Pack, this is my Pittsburgh Quick Tour document. Okay, and so now my Word document is mixed in here with my HTML5 files. As you can see here, this is a pretty simple Word document. Pittsburgh's 250th anniversary, adding 1. And then as we saw in the example, Pittsburgh Sports is adding 1. Football, baseball, and hockey are all heading 2. So those are all subtopics of the Pittsburgh Sports. And then one of the things that we'll take a look at towards the end of the lesson is we'll talk a lot about this DocToHelp toolbar that adds on in Word. Allows you to add, rename, and delete topics in your Word document, which is one of the things that we'll talk about. You can create links, inline and drop-down text, tag text for keywords, and much more, as we can see here on the toolbar. And then if we look at the Insert tab in the Content Editor, got basically all of the same options. Links, Image Map Editor, you can insert pictures and flash movies, inline and drop-down text, keywords, you can see all the icons and all the functionality is basically the same. We tried to make the Content Editor as similar to Word as possible, including in the editor we even have a style gallery that's similar to the style gallery here in the Home tab in Word. And then we have a question of, I couldn't follow the path to create a Word document. Okay, so just in order to add this Word document, I click the Add Existing Documents button, or Add Existing Documents button. And then I had just found this Pittsburgh Quick Tour document wherever I had downloaded and extracted my my course pack information, because this course pack that I had sent everybody a download to, the course pack has a PDF for the summer school basics, the image that we're going to be adding in later, and our Pittsburgh Quick Tour document. Okay, so now I skipped ahead to adding some new documents and adding existing documents as well. So I skipped over this creating a project. So we have an exercise that starts on page 5. In order to get everybody to the point where I am, I'd appreciate it if everybody could go through the exercise, starting there at the bottom of page 5, and then that exercise goes all the way through to the bottom of page 13. So start that exercise at the bottom of page 5, and you can create. I mean, basically, we're going to be removing whatever documents get added in there. So you can either create a new Word document, like it says in the exercise, or you can create an HTML5 document, like I did in my example. So I'll just give everybody 5 minutes till about 2:45 to do that, and then we'll come back. Okay, I didn't see a bunch of panicked questions flooding in as I was sitting here. So I would assume that everybody was able to get through that exercise okay and create a new project and get to basically where I am right now. I always try and follow the course description and the exercise as well as possible, but then I always end up getting a question from somebody else and diverging off onto a little bit different path. So, so hopefully everybody else is where they should be in terms of having a Word document that's named Pittsburgh and a document in their project, a Word document that's named Glossary. And then we'll move on to the adding a document to a project section, which starts, I believe, on page 15. Okay, so the objectives here to get to know the Documents pane toolbar, to learn how to add an existing or a new document to a project, and to find out how to rearrange, rename, and delete documents. Okay, so since your source documents, newer and existing, are the backbone of your project, learning how to add, delete, rename, and rearrange them is important. We'll discuss that in this section. It's good to learn what DocToHelp does with these documents after you've built a target. We'll do a quick build of our project and take a look in the next lesson. But in case you're wondering, it creates topics, a table of contents, and a few other things. So just taking a look at working in the Documents pane here at the bottom of page 15. Each of the panes in DocToHelp has a useful toolbar. Let's take a look at the Documents pane toolbar right now. This toolbar is used to adjust the order of the source documents in your project, and that's important because the order here is the hierarchy of the project. Plus you use it to add, rename, convert, and delete your documents. Okay, so the expand all and collapse all buttons are used to expand or collapse the list of documents. Convert documents to XHTML button is used to convert one or more documents to XHTML. And if you would like to rename a document, select it and then click the Rename Document button. You can choose a document and click the Remove Document button to remove it from the document pane. This only removes the document from the pane. The document can still be found in the Documents folder. Then the Move Up, Move Down, Move In, Move Out buttons are used to rearrange your documents in the project. This affects the entire hierarchy of your project. But those buttons are only available for HTML and XML files because those are usually single topic files that can be arranged as children of one another. So if you look at what we've got here is we've got our expand all, and collapse all. Got the ability to create a new document, add an existing document, convert to HTML5, rename, and remove. And if I click on any of these documents that are a little bit further down in the hierarchy, I can move them out. I can move them in. And I can also move them up and down. Okay, and then one of the other things that I can do is I can remove these documents. So that now I only have the Pittsburgh Quick Tour document left in there. And there was a question of, do you want us to do that? You can do that right now, but that's actually part of the next exercise. So if I click to remove all of those documents, and I look in my DocToHelp projects, in my Pittsburgh folder where my project files are, see that my Pittsburgh Quick Tour is in here, but so are all of the XML files. Okay, so I removed those from the Documents pane, but they're not fully removed from the project. They're still in that Documents folder. If I wanted to add them back in, see, I can do that really easily. We're just going to keep them removed for right now, though, just so the project looks like it should at the end of the exercise. Okay, and so then this is an important thing to keep in mind here. If you can see this light bulb towards the top of page 16. In DocToHelp, everything that displays in the Documents pane is a source document, no matter what the format, Word, HTML, XML, or how many topics it contains. Word documents will usually contain multiple topics, while HTML and XML documents generally contain only one topic. Okay, so no matter if there's only one topic or if there's 20 topics, DocToHelp considers each document as one source document. Okay, so as you can see, as we took a look at this Pittsburgh Quick Tour, and that's got 5 topics in it. And even if I add more topics to it, we're going to be adding topics to this in a little while, even if I add more topics to it, it's still going to be one document. Whereas each of the other 5 documents that we had in here, all the 5 XML files, the ones that we made for HTML5, all 5 of those were 5 individual documents, even though those were actually only 5 topics. So every one of these files is just one document. Okay, so we've taken a look at adding a new or existing document to your project. So adding a new document, it's just that little icon with a little orange flare in the upper left-hand corner. And you just click this little green button with a little plus in it to add an existing document. And then once you add the document, you'll see the Save New Document As. And all of that information, as we saw, any new documents that we add all get saved in this Documents folder in our Project folder. So again, that's part of the project structure that DocToHelp created for us. It created the CSS files, documents, and media. But media still doesn't have anything in it because we haven't added anything to that yet. We haven't inserted any graphics into our documents. Okay, and then it talks about adding existing documents on page 18. Again, if I were to just remove this Pittsburgh Quick Tour, just to show you how to add it again, click the Add Existing Documents button. Stick with Local. We want to import a Microsoft Word file. Keep our content in Word. If it's not broke, don't fix it. And then we just add our Pittsburgh Quick Tour document back in there. And so we've got our exercise starting at the top of page 20, about the top of page 20, adding a new document. So we're going to add a Microsoft Word document. And then they've also got an exercise where they want you to copy the JPEG file that we had in our course pack. So this is our Pittsburgh Confluence JPEG. It wants us to copy that, put it in the media folder. So I just talked about that media folder. And then that adding the document to the project. From there, you can remove the Pittsburgh document and the glossary document. And then we'll pretty much be dealing with the same thing at that point. Okay, and then I have a question of what happens if you add in a document that's not formatted properly or is just formatted differently. So if you have a document that isn't formatted with all the heading styles, if you have a document that isn't formatted with heading styles, then DocToHelp is going to read, you're going to get a message that says that there are no valid topics in the table of contents, meaning that since there weren't any heading styles, DocToHelp wasn't able to create any topics. And since it wasn't able to create any topics, it wasn't able to organize those into a table of contents. So the first thing that you would want to check with any document that you get from anybody is to make sure that it has those heading styles and to use those heading styles to sort of structure the document. Okay, so if everybody could go through the, we've got about 2:58, so if everybody until about 3:03 could just go through the adding the Pittsburgh Quick Tour document to our project, and then just removing one of the other documents that you have in there from when you created the project, just removing Pittsburgh.doc and removing glossary.doc. We'll just be dealing with the Pittsburgh Quick Tour document. So again, I didn't see the question section blow up or a whole bunch of panicked responses from everybody. So I have to assume that that everyone was able to add a document okay and remove the Pittsburgh.doc and the glossary.doc file. So then now all that we have is the Pittsburgh Quick Tour file. Okay, so we're going to take a look at building a target and some of the specifics surrounding that. And actually, I did get a question about some formatting issues or some formatting questions, and just the conversion process, maybe from a PDF to a document to a DocToHelp project. I'll answer that question offline to John. And if there's anybody else that wants to know how to go from PDF to Doc to DocToHelp, I mean, it is a pretty challenging process, but it can be done. Feel free to post that you'd like an answer to that question as well, and I'll answer you. Just send you an email offline. Okay, but taking a look at building a target, the objectives here to learn some handy hints about building a target, to examine the targets ribbon group, to learn when you want to build versus rebuild, because that's a question that I get pretty frequently, and to look at the Help Targets dialog box and the output window. Okay, so in the overview, this is an important first paragraph here. That a target is your deliverable, whether it's a manual, online help, or web output. That first sentence. So a target, a lot of people, we'll call them outputs, we'll call them deliverables, we'll call them targets. Sometimes we'll even call them by their proper name. We'll call them by targets. But when I say target, that's basically synonymous with output or deliverable. It's what you're building, or to call back to the beginning, that's the stuff that you need. So with DocToHelp single source capabilities, you can produce all of these outputs out of the box, or you can customize any or all of them. You can even produce different versions of the same type of target. You can build your targets at any time, plus you can build your targets off hours using the build scheduler. Okay, so when you're ready to build a target, you can do so using the target ribbon group on the DocToHelp Home tab. This ribbon group contains a drop-down that is used to choose the desired target, as well as the build target and rebuild target buttons. When rebuilding a help target, DocToHelp empties its output directory and recompiles the entire project. Okay, so you can see here in this screenshot in the middle, we've got our target selected, and then build and rebuild are both called out. And then, like I said, we're going to examine here in a moment when you would want to build and when you would want to rebuild. So you can view your deliverables using the View Target button, but the deliverables are saved to folders in your project. You should go to these folders to retrieve your deliverables and deliver them. And then that's a good help topic to sort of flag to keep in mind. You would want to take a look at the DocToHelp Outputs and Deliverables topic, and the DocToHelp Online Help for details about the deliverables in each location of each type of target. So you'd use the Cancel Build button to stop a build, and the Build Log button to view the output window. You've generated a manual target. The View PDF button will be available. If you'd like to view your PDF using this button, you should first select the Generate PDF checkbox for your manual target in the Help Targets dialog box. Okay, so that last line here, Generate PDF checkbox for your manual target in the Help Targets dialog box. When we talk about the Help Targets dialog box, I'll show you what that line means. Okay, so when you generate a manual target as a Word file, the resulting file will have a different toolbar than the source documents. The DocToHelp toolbar or ribbon will contain only the basic styles and tools necessary to make final adjustments to your manual before printing or conversion to PDF. The tools include a reference button and the margin notes button. Okay, and then again, a question that I get pretty frequently, building versus rebuilding a target at the top of page 29. DocToHelp has two different toolbar buttons on the Home tab for building your projects. One is Build Target and one is Rebuild Target. When you choose the Build Target button, DocToHelp recognizes all the source documents that have been edited since the last build and makes all those changes in the target. This is the quickest way to build a project. When you choose the Rebuild Target button, DocToHelp deletes all of the content of the output folder of your target, then builds everything from scratch, not just the source document. So if you make any global changes to your project, changing project settings, creating variables, adding glossary entries, etc., you should do a rebuild. A rebuild will always take longer than a build, especially on large projects. And then this is another important one. You should always do a rebuild before reviews and releases. So the short version of that is a build is quick and easy if you just made a few cosmetic changes. A rebuild is going to take longer, but it's a more thorough way to do it. I always click rebuild just because I usually deal with smaller projects, and it doesn't, the difference in the amount of time it takes for it to complete the build of the target is pretty minimal for me. But that's an important last line. You should always do a rebuild before reviews and releases. Okay, and then taking a look at the Help Targets dialog box. The Help Targets dialog box makes it easy to define your targets and their settings. Opening the Help Targets dialog box, so you go to the Home tab, click on the Target Ribbon Group dialog box launcher, and then click on the desired target to view or edit its properties. So we see the little dialog box launcher called out red, and we see the Help Target dialog box. Top of page 30. And so just if we're talking about here in the Home tab, again, you can see all of our Select Target, all of our different options under Select Target. Got our Build and Rebuild buttons, and we talked about when you would want to do each of those. View Target button to view your target. Cancel Build. And clicking the Build Log button to view the build log. And then here's that little guy right there, the Help Targets dialog box launcher that we talked about. If I click on that, here's my Help Targets dialog. Looks a lot like that screenshot on page 30. If I click on the manual target and I check Generate PDF, Generate PDF target, check it right there. Then it'll create a PDF for me the next time it creates a manual. Okay, and then when we're talking about builds, it's important to talk about the output window as well. When you build a target, the output window displays the status of the build as it progresses. Sample screenshot of an output window. The window will split after the first build is completed. One window will be the build log. The other will display the errors and unresolved links, if any. These windows can be accessed by clicking the tabs at the bottom of the output window. Then the errors and unresolved links window will display detailed information so that you can troubleshoot the issues found during the build. In the example below, the entire baseball topic was deleted and the picture used in the first topic was removed from the graphics folder. Using the information provided, you can quickly troubleshoot these problems and move on. And then delivering a target. The final files you deliver depend upon your target. DocToHelp stores all the deliverables for each target in a folder, and the Help Targets dialog box. Select the folder for each of your targets to see where your targets are being stored. And then there's some information there at the bottom of page 32 about all the different file types for each target. But again, you would want to take a look at this DocToHelp outputs and deliverables topic in the online help for more information on that. It's a really good topic. And again, if I go into DocToHelp and I just click on the Revo button, my output window is the active window right here. And I came up with 0 errors, 0 warnings, and 0 broken links. I mean, you'd hope so because I have a really small document and I haven't done much with it. I haven't done anything to it to mess it up yet, right? So right now it should be okay. And then this is what it looks like as NetHelp. Okay, so I've got some information here on how to build the target. On page 32 and 33 and 34. So before we jump into editing source documents, just take a couple of minutes. We're starting to run out of time here, so just take a couple of minutes. Build one of the targets of your choice. You can build NetHelp, you can build a manual, build a CHM file, HTML help. Maybe build one of those 3. Just to take a look at what you'll see. Probably maybe just build NetHelp and see what that looks like. So maybe just give you a minute or two, come back at 3:17 on that. Okay, so that was just probably a pretty quick foray into building a target, seeing what it looks like. After we make some customizations and we do some other things, including inserting a graphic and maybe adding another topic and some links, it'd be more interesting to build that target and see what it looks like. Okay, so talking about editing source documents on page 35. This talks about D2HTML, which is the DocToHelp markup language. And D2HTML is actually not a special language that you need to learn. It's not, you don't need to learn new tags or any kind of new information. Basically, you just need to know how to use the buttons on this toolbar, which you see a screenshot of. Okay, so this is the DocToHelp toolbar that adds on to Microsoft Word, and you can also see that, we saw that on the Insert tab in DocToHelp's editor. Okay, so basically you just need to know how to use these buttons. But we created our own markup language so that you could use these buttons and so that the editing experience would be the same no matter what you were working with. This D2HML, this markup language that we invented, is the reason that you can mix and match all of the different types of inputs. So you can use XML and HTML and .doc. You can use all three of those formats in the same project because we created our own markup language to control things behind the scenes. So the DocToHelp toolbar is basically what you need to keep straight and the functionality that you need to know how to use. And then this is just a handy chart on 35 and 36, page 35 and 36. It kind of shows you what's happening behind the scenes for each of these buttons. But each of these buttons you'll be able to see that they have a corresponding button on the DocToHelp toolbar. Okay. Inserting graphics is something that everybody does in all of their projects. And it's something that we like to keep quick and easy. But there are a few handy facts and there are things to keep in mind. These are all just important things, rules to live by that I wanted to make sure that I stressed in this training and I wanted to make sure that I covered. You should always store your graphics within the project. If you don't, you could cause broken links within your project, which is, again, one of the things where I said, we recommend that all projects are self-contained. The project we're working with today has a graphic stored in the media folder. So we've got our Pittsburgh Confluence JPEG in that media folder. When inserting graphics in your source document, choose in the Insert tab, Picture from File, and then select the Insert and Link option. So instead of just copying and pasting your screenshots, or just double-clicking the image and choosing Insert, we recommend that you use Insert and Link. And that's a feature that's available in Word. Just so that you know, when you click the picture button, click the picture button, in DocToHelp's editor, it automatically inserts and links whatever image you're inserting. But Word, you need to specifically choose that option. So instead of, this is the wrong, or I guess not the wrong, not the way that we recommend it, but the way that most people do it, is commonly people will go to the Insert tab and they'll click on Picture. And then they'll just double click on Pittsburgh Confluence and they'll insert it. But what we recommend is that you go to Insert Picture, and that you just click on the picture once, and then instead of clicking on Insert, click on this little drop down here and choose Insert and Link. That does a couple of things for you. It makes the overall size of your document smaller. And it also gives you more control over that image. So if you change the image but you save it with the same name, then that linked file will automatically get updated the next time you open up a Word document. Say the interface changes and you change the screenshot, but you give it the same name, then the screenshot will automatically update the next time you open up a Word document. And then also, if it's a linked file, then Word feels as though it has less control, less eminent domain over the file. So it won't try to change it or resize it. It'll just respect its original properties. So whatever you originally had for properties and the way that you originally had that screenshot set up is the way that Word will honor that. Okay, so it'll maintain the image's integrity and it'll make your Word file sizes smaller. So that's why we recommend doing Insert and Link. And adding a new topic to your source document is as easy as typing in the text and then applying the appropriate style. However, DocToHelp provides a way to add topics with a few shortcuts. Using the Add Topic toolbar button in the DocToHelp ribbon makes it possible to perform certain functions, for example, creating a link to the new topic without building the target first. The topic that's added, renamed, deleted will be automatically updated in the table of contents unless the table of contents is customized. So this is a good way to add new content. As I mentioned before, customers either create new content in the built-in editor, or they just continue to add content in their Word documents. A lot of customers, pretty much every project that's out there is a living project, meaning that it continues to grow and evolve over time. So you're going to need to add content to all of your projects eventually. It's just a question of whether you want to add that content in the content editor in DocToHelp, or if you want to just add this topic. Like if you go into the DocToHelp toolbar and you click on Add Topic, click Yes, create a new section, called Famous Pittsburghers. That gets added to the navigation in Word 2010. Style automatically gets applied, and Famous Pittsburghers automatically gets added to the table of contents. So clicking on that Add Topic button is a good way to, in a living project, just start adding topics in real time as opposed to adding a topic and then building it. One of the things that I didn't mention when I first imported the documents, but you might have noticed, when you first import the document, the topics aren't automatically added. In order to have DocToHelp add the topics and organize them into a table of contents, you need to build first. So using the Add Topic button, if you have an existing document, using the Add Topic button lets you add all those topics into the project, add them to the TOC, make sure that they exist and they're in the hierarchy and they're all set up without having to build first. So that lets you sort of check your work as you go. Creating a link to another topic is one of the most common things to do, and DocToHelp not only makes it easy, it makes it flexible to do so. When you select text and then click the link button, the following dialog box opens. It provides several options for creating links. Just click the link type dropdown. You can use this dialog box to create links to topics, keywords, groups, and glossary items. Note that when you create a link, you can make the link text appear as a button in online help targets if you wish, or make the link result for topic links appear in a pop-up or a different window style. But for the most part, people just stick with the defaults. So if I'm in here, I can already create a link to the Famous Pittsburghers topic. Because that got added in already, because I clicked the Add Topic button. So I click the link button. And I can select Famous Pittsburghers from that list and already create a link to it. And then when somebody clicks on that link, once that gets built, somebody clicks on that link, they're going to jump right to the Famous Pittsburghers topic. So a few notes. DocToHelp automatically converts your topic links to cross-references with page numbers in your manual targets. If you would like your links to be live in your manual doc and PDF output, open the Help Targets dialog box that we took a look at earlier and select the Live Links and create Master Document checkboxes for all your manual targets. That's selected by default, but it's just good to know in case you want to turn that off. If you prefer that the topics list be displayed differently in the link dialog, you can click the Tree View or Grid View button in the upper right-hand corner of the link dialog box. the text you're linking from exactly matches the name of the topic, like in Famous Pittsburghers here. You don't need to use the link dialog at all. If you prefer, you can simply select the link text and apply the appropriate style. So C1H jump is the appropriate style to create a link. Since there's a baseball topic, as soon as I apply the C1H jump style to that topic, to that text, it's automatically going to link to the baseball topic. So I don't need to use the link button at all. You can also create a link by dragging a topic from the Topics window and dropping it into your Word or HTML source document. Set up your DocToHelp and source documents windows so they're side by side and try it out. That's just some fun drag and drop functionality. You can try that out as you will. And then inline drop down and pop-up text. Inline text displays immediately after a selected link. Drop-down text displays under a selected link, and then pop-up text displays in a pop-up window when the link is selected. And then there you have an example of what the link would look like in the help window. And then what each option looks like when the link's clicked. And again, this all just comes down to being able to use the buttons on the DocToHelp toolbar when you select your text. Then select the inline text button. You'll see all of your options. So here's our inline text button. Selected the text Pittsburgh Pirates. And then winners of 5 World Series championships. If I select the text Pittsburgh Pirates, then my inline text will appear. And then talking about creating a keyword is an index entry. You can create index entries several ways in DocToHelp, and using the D2HML keyword button is one of them. And then the other way is to use the index and groups pane. That will actually be discussed. That's discussed later in the introductory training. I actually pulled this part of the lesson out from the introductory training. So that's 2 4-hour sessions that cover really all the whole basics that you would need to know. And this is just a quick overview of the basics. But when you select topic text and click the keyword button to create a keyword, that keyword will appear in the index of all targets. The keyword will reference the topic that it was selected from. You can create the same keyword in multiple topics. In that case, the target index will reference all of these topics. So you would just click that keyword button. Usually the keyword is defined by the text. So you've got the text Pennsylvania. So you would want to make that, you would want to make the word Pennsylvania your keyword. And then just have that be associated with whatever topic that text appears in. Okay, so that's basically what it says down here. Is the quickest way to create a keyword. Choose the text in your topics. In the example above, Pennsylvania, and just click the OK button. Pennsylvania will be added to the index. The next time you open the dialog box to add another entry, you'll see Pennsylvania in the list. But if you prefer to use a different word for the index entry, click the Add New Keyword and enter it in the dialog box. Okay, so if I select the text Pennsylvania, click the keyword button, click OK. Pennsylvania has been added to the index. If I highlight the text guide and I click the keyword button, you see that Pennsylvania is already available there as an option. Okay, so baseball is that link that I created automatically. Here's my inline text. Pittsburgh Pirates, winners of 5 World Series championships. There's my index. If I click on Pennsylvania, I'm going to go to Pittsburgh's 250th anniversary. Okay, so those are all of the changes that I made to that, and actually I got a few messages about different word errors, some compilation errors that different people are getting. So actually, I'll follow up on with everybody on those errors, just because it's not easy to troubleshoot that in this menu. But as soon as we're talking, now that we're done, we're talking about the keywords and the inline text and the add topic and all of the different things that you can do with the DocToHelp toolbar, in addition to inserting an image that you do in the Insert tab on Microsoft Word. Take a look at the exercises starting there on page 42, and the exercises actually take you all the way through the end of the manual. So, definitely follow along with the exercises here and work your way through all of the exercises. I will stay on the line, thinking it might take some folks until about 3:50 in order to finish that. So I apologize that we went over time. Just had a few more questions than I thought I would. But certainly start running through the exercises there on page 42. And let me know if you have any questions or if there's anything that you run into.